Notice of violation. Date of issuance, February 13th, 2023. Cease occupancy and or accessory use of all unpermitted structures, RVs, travel trailers on all APNs listed above. Our tiny home got shut down. All right, before I get into the story of how our tiny home got shut down, I want to start off this video by basically saying I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to make this video, as it is pretty embarrassing, and I'm sure no one on YouTube is going to make fun of me, and everyone's going to be super nice to me. Part of the journey of starting a glamping business is sharing what you do right and what you do wrong. And if I only share the positive stuff and not the negative stuff, then it's swayed one way, and I don't want to do that. So this video is basically documenting a big mess up that could 100% have been avoided if I was more educated in the space. But it's in the past, and all I can do is learn from it. And this is the story of how my tiny home got canceled from being able to be ran on Airbnb, and how I lost about $15,000 to $20,000. So it all started basically a year and a half ago when I started this journey of Airbnb. I knew I wanted to do an Airstream and I wanted to do a tiny home. The major aspect of why I did the tiny home and why I did the Airstream was because I saw the demand in the market and there was not a lot of Airstreams, and I knew I could renovate an Airstream and make it look super badass. I knew that the rising trend in tiny homes were increasing in demand. The Airstream, I knew I could 100% get it permitted and get it all worked out. The tiny home, I was more skeptical. Now, keep in mind, in this market, there are a lot of tiny homes that are unpermitted and never get a violation or anything. So what happened was I basically took that idea that there was a bunch of other people doing it, and so I wouldn't get caught because of other people were doing it. I could do it, which is, when I'm saying it out loud, so stupid to like saying and admit. It's like, if all of your friends were jumping off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? It's like I was a product of a group agreement that it was okay to do an unpermitted tiny home in this county because everyone else was doing an unpermitted tiny home. And that, quite frankly, is a very quick way to lose a lot of money and a very quick way to have a bad reputation and basically setting yourself up for a loss. So that's why I did it. It was pure ignorance, it was irresponsibility, and it was lack of education. That's the biggest thing. It was me thinking that a lot of other people were doing it, therefore it would be okay if I did it. And that is such a terrible way of thinking, and I have obviously learned since then. And then on February 20th, 2023, I got this letter saying that I basically have to immediately stop living in the tiny home. And that means canceling every single reservation. Instead of canceling the reservation, I was able to move like 99% of them onto our other listings. I asked them, I said, hey, just so you know, and this is where I vowed to myself, I was like, look, I obviously skirted the rules and didn't get it permitted correctly. This part, let me just do everything above board. So I called each reservation personally. I basically told them the truth. I said, we are not able to permit this thing right now. Therefore, we're not able to have you guys stay in this unit. We are going to have to move you to a different unit or cancel the reservation entirely. A lot of them, again, 99% of them, 95% of them ended up sticking with us and just moving to a different unit. A lot of them moved to an Airstream. We didn't lose the money that we had the existing reservations with, but we absolutely did lose the 4 months of rental income that we were expecting from the tiny home. So on February 15th, I got this notice, and I kind of want to read it. It says, notice of violation, date issuance February 13th, 2023, compliance deadline March 15th, 2023. And then it has my tax parcel numbers, it has my address, it has my name, it has the background, which is February 9th, 2023, Coconino County Enforcement received a case request alleging occupancies of unpermitted structures on parcels noted above. Basically, what had happened was someone was scoping around my properties, and our property manager at the time went to the properties to kind of confront them and say, what are you doing? Because it was a level of security that he thought we needed, and more or less made the guy leave. And with him leaving, I think I'm like 90% sure that he then complained to the county about us. So I think it was that gentleman. If it wasn't that gentleman, then it was another person who complained to the county. And then the code enforcement of Coconino County came to our property and basically said, took notes of everything that we were doing wrong. It was actually not just the tiny home that got flagged, but the Airstream and the RV that got flagged was flagged because the deck that we built was over 200 square feet. And so if you build a deck in Coconino County and it's over 200 square feet, you have to get it permitted. And if you build it under 200 square feet, then you don't have to get it permitted. And I don't know why that's a rule, but that's a rule. So that actually was great because we were able to learn more about the codes and policies of the county. And so we, moving forward, made sure to not build any decks over 200 square feet. And then it talks about our violations, and then it says corrective actions. And basically we have to cease all occupancy and then get a building permit. Immediately when I got this note, I called the county. And I think that was the saving grace in my entire experience, was that I called the county and talked to the head of code enforcement. And so I talked to the gentleman, and we basically discussed an action plan of how I'm going to solve and remedy what I have done. And so I think that was the biggest lesson I learned, was I didn't call all angry. I called super apologetic. I talked to him like a normal person, and I basically was like, hey man, I'm so sorry that this happened. I didn't know the rules, and I would love to, one, learn all of the rules so I don't violate any of the rules, and then correct anything I need to get. That statement to him, I think, alleviated a lot of his worry. And solution for the decks was I tried going through the permitting process to permit the decks legally. Now, when I talked to the building department, they wanted crazy specs like 6 by 12 foot planks. So the only viable solution was to shorten the deck from the big size that it was into under 200 square foot deck. So we got to just removing boards and removing part of the deck to make it under 200 square feet. Next was the tiny home. The tiny home wasn't permittable because it was not on a trailer, and it was considered a single family residence. And because it was a single family residence, it has to get built to a certain standard. Now, if it is built onto a trailer, then you can just get it trailer certified and get it permitted as a single family residence with a conditional use permit. So there was two solutions I could have done. One was try to go through the county and the building department, trying to certify this tiny home on a foundation with a building permit and retroactively adjust the unit to their building standards as a single family residence. Or the second option is to put it onto a trailer bed and do a little bit of work on it to then certify it as a travel trailer. And when it's certified as a travel trailer, you are then able to permit it as a single family residence with a conditional use permit. So I did the latter. I bought a trailer from Trailer Made, and then I hired a crane service to basically lift up the tiny home and put it onto the trailer. I then worked with a company called Noah to get it certified as a travel trailer, permit it as a single family residence with a conditional use permit. So that is my story of first why I went with the tiny home and my thought process in that I wouldn't get caught, then getting caught, then finally the solutions on after I got caught, how I was able to solve it and then get it permitted legally so that I can continue renting it out. Again, this video is a video to document how stupid I am and how my journey through creating a glamping business is not all sunshine and rainbows, is that there are absolutely mistakes I make, and this is just one of the mistakes. It all could have been avoided if I learned more. If I did more education, which is the step one of starting a glamping business. It is so vital and so important to be educated in what you are doing, and at the same time, people focus all of their time and efforts on the education and no applicability. So I think there is a balance between theory and application, and I think you need the mixture of both of those in order to be successful. And so this was just an example of a little bit more theory and a little bit less application could have saved me a lot of money. Thanks for sticking with me on this video. Again, this video is for me. and less for you guys. But yeah, thanks for watching.